And then we're going live in about five, four, three, two, two. It's always the two that takes the longest.
It takes too long. But
And
I'm
the
back.
one. All right. And there we are. Good morning. Happy Friday. Thank you to everybody that has already joined us and the Zoom side of this presentation. And to everybody that is joining us live right now, good morning, good morning, good morning. Thank you for tuning in. As promised, I kidnapped Ruben one more time, and I'm gonna do that once a month until we are out of this environment to get his input. But today we brought in Kelly, and we're gonna let Kelly's gonna go first and introduce herself. We wanted to get a builder's perspective on the current stand on our market and where things look to be heading. Like always, my name is Ernesto Vega, broker of Canvas Real Estate. It's a pleasure to spend this Friday morning with all of you that are tuning in. This is my second market of the presentation where I share my views on the real estate market based on numbers, what I see, what I read, and what my humble interpretation is of where our real estate market could be going. I'm not talking about. We're gonna go down a lot of numbers, but my whole spin is always where is this gonna lead real estate into for the balance of 2020 and beyond. Ruben, if you want to go ahead for those that don't know you yet, if you want to introduce yourself.
Sure. Thank you again for inviting me, Ernesto. I do feel kidnapped, by the way. But my name is Ruben Crispino. I'm the area manager for CMG Financial, one of the largest mortgage companies in the country. We have 5 offices here in South Florida and many more throughout the state and many more throughout the country. Really excited to hear from Kelly today. And let's see what we can do as far as these numbers you're providing us.
All right. And Kelly Maham, right? Maham?
Mayhan, yes.
Mayhem. All right. So Kelly, if you can introduce yourself to the 100 plus people that are watching you right now so
Oh, no
far.
pressure. No pressure. Yeah, so I'm Kelly Mahan. I'm the sales manager at Grayson Townhomes by Luxcom up in Royal Palm Beach. We're just adjacent to Wellington. Prior to Luxcom, I was with DR Horton for 4 years, and prior to that, I was with Pulte for 4 years. So, we're starting to see a pickup in activity in our sales office and starting to see some really good things. So,
Okay, good, good. All right. So like I do once a month, I have put a little presentation together that I wanna share with you guys some research, some numbers. Kelly, you're gonna have to excuse me. I didn't. The picture that I found on you on LinkedIn was not. I didn't know that was you, so I didn't use it.
that's okay.
So let's get this going. So what I like to say that this are in my opinion these are facts. I'm not here to give you fear. I'm gonna give you reality, and and I was talking to Larry earlier today. I'm a numbers junkie. I like to look at numbers and economic numbers, but I'm gonna give you facts and not fear. So when you walk out of listening to this presentation, if you are working with a buyer and that buyer is hesitant or has cold feet, you have information to share with them, or if you have a listing that is in trouble regarding either pricing or they want to terminate the listing from you, no matter what brokerage you work for, you can go ahead and share this data with them. Our co-host, let me move the camera around. He already introduced himself. This is Mr. Ruben Crispino, area manager of CMG Lending. More than that, Ruben has been in the industry for a long time, has been in different positions in our industry, so it's seen our industry from different angles, from lending, from commercial, from banking, from appraisal, from commercial appraisal. So Ruben has been around for a while, and so knows, and that's why I bring him in, because he's seen every different side of the trenches. So what happened to that? That is me, Ernesto Vega. Pleasure to meet you. If you want to know more about me, send me a message and we can have a nice conversation. But let's immediately jump into what I call the 2020 and beyond outlook. I jokingly say to everybody that to me, 2020, Kelly started in May 1st. I'm gonna discard the rest of the year, and May 1st was the first day of 2020 for me going forward. So when I wanted to put this presentation together, I wanted everybody to understand that there is a beyond. No matter what industry you are and you're listening to us today, there is a beyond. The world will keep going. Our planet will keep spinning. Our economy will keep moving. So I just want everybody to understand that, not to focus on the details, and go look at the bigger picture. So I'm gonna go ahead and jump in. And the what drives to me, in my opinion, what drives our market in South Florida real estate market, it's employment. Employment has been the source of income for everybody, and that's employment stability. It's what drives to me real estate. So I wanted to run a report on and show you guys a couple of things regarding employment. And listen, there's no way to sugarcoat this unemployment numbers. They're brutal. This 14% is April, but I believe we are already at 21%, and it could be ticking higher. But the unemployment. What I wanted to show you this graph, and I'll let both of you comment on it, is that this graph is unemployment from 1930 to 1940. That it literally took a decade to erase the damage of the Great Depression. And the reason I brought this in is because everybody talks about this being a depression, and to me, this is an economic recession created by a pandemic, not an economic contraction. So I don't think it's going to take a decade to erase these job numbers, and I will show you why. Anything you guys want to talk about unemployment?
Well, I think you're right. I think they're predicting us to hit that 25% mark pretty soon here, which would put us in line with what happened back in the 1930s.
Yeah. We will definitely touch 25% without a doubt. But what I want everybody to think about is that, so CNBC went out there, and when I bring in data, I go and read people that are smarter than me, because but they went out there, and Kelly and Ruben, and they did a breakdown of the unemployment numbers. And if you're listening to me, I'm not trying to diminish the unemployment. This is going to hurt a lot of people and a lot of family, but you got to take the data and look at as a real estate professional, mortgage professional, insurance professional, whatever, and see how that's going to affect your income going forward. If you're a builder, if there's going to be buyers out there. So as of April, 78% of all of those that have been let go and have filed unemployment were for industries that the government feels are temporary layoffs. So those are jobs that will be coming right back. And in South Florida, for example, the cruise industry did a lot of firings and furloughs at the moment, right? But if the more and more that you read daily, the cruise industries are looking at August and September, and they already have very robust sales. So all of those people that are currently unemployed in that industry will be coming back in. Every restaurateur that I know has opened in Broward County already, and they have already begun to bring back half of their workforce. So you take and I'm not going to mention names, but this one of the operates 5 franchises in the Tri-County area, where he had let go close to 200 people. He opened on Monday. He already brought in 75. He's looking to bring another 50 in by next week. So the unemployment, and Ruben touched on that, it's gonna get to 25. But as of April, 78% of what we had was temporary employment, the temporary job loss, not jobs that were gonna not come back ever again. There's some industries that are fading away, but the majority of this, the government feels, are jobs that are going to come right back. So Ruben, you'll be able to do mortgages for a long time.
I hope so.
And then when we look at filings, when we look at filings, you look at March, April, the filings were there's no way of hiding. They were unbelievably brutal numbers and filings. But if you look at the filings every week, they begin to drop. So yeah, we're gonna touch that 25%, but not at a rate of 6 million people filing for unemployment all the time. When we look at the first March, April, the first week of April, second week of April, that's when the lockdowns were taking place. And I know that we are, we have a very short-term memory, and we've been open for a week and we feel like it's been out forever already. But speaking to someone in California, in Colorado yesterday, Ruben, they're telling me that Colorado's on full lockdown to probably June 15th.
Wow.
Full lockdown. So what we experience that it's beginning to fade away, they're gonna keep it going longer. So, but how many people from Colorado are moving to Florida? And this graph I'm sharing with you is I'm sharing with everybody. Like I keep saying, unemployment, it is a very painful thing that we're going through as a country. And there's a lot of families being affected by it. But I want you to, put sort of blinders on for a second and understand how is that going to affect my earning as a mortgage broker, as a real estate professional, or as a builder. So when you look at, and this is at the end of April, I don't have May numbers yet. When you look at the percentage of people that were unemployed and their income per household, this is not income per person, this is income per household, right? So 40% of all of those that were unemployed were families making less than $40,000 a year, right? So yes, so when you look at how is that going to affect real estate going forward, those were more than anything, rental families than buying families, right, Ruben? Because if as a household you're making 40 grand, what do you qualify for as a mortgage, more or less?
Well, in South Florida, not a whole lot. And that's just because of our, rates on insurance, obviously, and obviously our tax rate, not so much on our pricing.
Yeah. So when you look at the unemployment number, you gotta break it down to see how is it gonna affect you going forward. So literally 60% of those unemployed nationally are households. So let's cut that 19 and a half. 50% of all are making households making $50,000 a year. Those are households that are going through tremendous amount of pain. But those were not households that were gonna come into the market. Right, Kelly? These were not the family.
I am actually very excited to show this slide to my sales team because I think this really tells the story of how much are the buyers that to qualify for our homes or any new construction in South Florida, really. And they're not in this.
And yours is a very affordable product.
Right. So we're in like the 350 to 400, which is affordable in South Florida for new construction, mind you. So those aren't our buyers anyway. So I love this slide because I think it really tells the story of who lost the jobs and were they ever really going to be buyers?
Buyers, yeah. So when we go over $100,000 a year income per family, Ruben, it's 13%. So you gotta understand that. Okay, let's say that those 13%, you end up being with a 6% unemployment. 6% unemployment to me is the norm. 6 to 8% unemployment is the norm that we should be as an economy to have a balance. Just like you need a balance in the market of buyers and sellers, you need a certain number of unemployment numbers for things to be a balance. So although this graph is a painful graph to look at, you gotta take it for what it is, and that's the reason I wanted to share it. That if you're a real estate agent or mortgage broker or listening to us, the majority, the bulk of your buyers is still employed, right? And Ruben, you had mentioned something about encapsulating those furlough temporary layoffs that was not going to affect lending going forward.
Yeah, it looks like that's happening. We kind of predicted that to happen. Different stages. The government, as big as it is, and moves a little slower than we would like. But in this particular situation, this pandemic, they move a lot faster than normal. So we do see that happening. So if somebody is furloughed, we'll be able to encapsulate the furlough time if they, once they get reemployed. There were some big changes this week also on forbearance and how we're looking at that as opposed to the previous information that we had, that we still had issues approving buyers or even refis on people who had gone into forbearance. So a lot of good stuff is happening, all positive. It's, based on the numbers you're showing, I mean, going back one slide where 78% of that is temporary. I mean, it puts us right back to where you just mentioned, 6 to 8% unemployment. You take 25%, and 78% of that's coming back at some point. You don't want to be in that 6%, but it is painful for them, and it's painful for the people in that under $40,000 a year income. But it looks like it's more and more looking like it's going to be a relatively quick recovery.
Well, I'm glad you brought up furlough. Forbearance.
Mhm.
So, like I said, I speak like it is. I'm not hiding numbers. I'm not telling you that there's going to be roses. But as of last Friday, the amount of loans and forbearance had reached the amount of loan defaults in 2010. So, which is an astronomical number.
It is.
But more and more, I keep hearing of proactive work from the National Mortgage Association, companies like CMG, and the government, and so to sort of alleviate the pain for those people that all have these forbearances. Have you heard anything about refis for people that are in forbearance at the end?
So again, you have the public, which is the government, trying to help in various ways and allowing us to do, help the individuals that need to help, allowing them to go to forbearance. And as far as the new loans coming forward, like I mentioned a little while ago, the reality is that they're doing everything they can to allow our guidelines to basically help us not skip a beat. Like you said, 2020 started May 1st. For us, going back to the new normal, it's definitely May 1st. I mean, that's how we're seeing things, how things are changing. And, people who are in forbearance will be able to get a loan, I believe, relatively soon.
Yeah, no, people got to understand, if you took the forbearance, it's because it was the only option you had. You couldn't reach out and refinance. But I feel that, as times develop, I don't think that, there's going to be a massive wave of foreclosure on those properties. I think that there will be some, like HARP back in the day. For those that are listening, they've been around for a while. The HARP was a government refi program for people in distressed situations. So I feel that there's something along that line may come along. It's not going to happen now because there's other problems that everybody's dealing with now. But I think that over the next 6 months, we will hear that, because 10 million plus homes and forbearance nationally is a big number. I don't have the stats on Florida. I promise you, everybody listening, that by next Friday, I'll try to get the forbearance number in South Florida to see what that's going to be. I can tell you that at the end of April, loans that were 90-day due in Broward County was under 600. So we went into this very, very strong. This is the claims for Florida. We're trying to finish our unemployment numbers. I mean, if we look at everything prior to coronavirus, Florida was literally at 4% unemployment. So you got to understand that the economy was humming along in a way that it has never hummed along. And then, our claims went up. But when we look at the first week of May, the unemployment claims dropped drastically. That shows me that the firing or the furloughs has stopped. I mean, that's my take from. I don't know if you guys want to jump in on that one, but to me, it shows that massive layoff that took place, it's done and over with.
Kelly?
I mean, that's kind of what we're seeing in the sales office, is people are getting more and more comfortable with their job situation. So they're not, at first it was people not wanting to come in or even come in, or definitely not commit to a contract because they were nervous about, being laid off or furloughed. But that's really, we've kind of turned a corner.
So that's what I call consumer sentiment. And then consumer sentiment is what makes us all feel warm and fuzzy inside, right? So when we look at April 7th is when consumer sort of sentiment, March to April is when that fell off. And then when you look at this graph, you got to look at that little uptick at the bottom, right? You got to understand that that uptick took place in April 7th when we were still in the middle of all of this, right? So the consumer is beginning to feel more comfortable even in the middle of this horrible environment. So yeah, you're getting that traffic because everybody's realizing, hey, my job is secure.
Right.
Rates are as low as they ever been. There's a lot of incentives that builders like yourself are bringing to the table.
Right.
So I think that by the time I do this next month, I think we will have a stronger consumer sentiment going forward. But any uptick on the and any of the graphs, you gotta embrace them because that shows the resilience of our economy. Because I think 90% of the country is still in lockdown mode, and if things are already turning, the minute that we open all the doors and we do it all in a safe manner, social distancing. For those that saw me and Ruben met yesterday in Kendall, we social distancing from each other, talking from afar. But I think that once we open and we follow the guidelines, people will adapt and life will go on.
I mean, we talked about this last time where, going back to foreclosures and forbearances and, it's very different right now. And that's why maybe it's that we'll get that rebound quicker than we thought. We went into this, like you said, with very low unemployment. We went into this with most people having equity in their homes, which I think is huge. So there's no need to really go into foreclosure, just, possibly sell the house. I think one of your slides coming up talks about inventory, but, once as that inventory continues to be so low, it's, goes back to supply and demand. If there's no supply, you're not going to be able to meet the demand. And therefore, I don't see the prices necessarily dipping. And that's why it's important to have Kelly on here, who actually has a supply that I think we need, right?
Yes.
Yeah, actually, I'm gonna touch on that, and I think it's on the next slide. For everybody watching in social media, I want to thank everybody that is there. If you can do me a favor, if you can click on that little share button that you have and share this presentation that is going live. This is going to be recorded, and these slides, if you're interested in receiving them, send me a message either in social media or email, and I will send the slides over to you so you can have a conversation with whoever you're working with. So this is what Goldman Sachs, and you can either love them or hate them, but Goldman Sachs manages all of the wealth in this planet. So if anybody needs to be right on projecting where we're gonna be and where things are going, it's gonna be Goldman. And when you look at their projection, everybody calls it a V. I call it a Nike swoosh, and I think Goldman is agreeing with me. When we look at GDP going forward, which is where the economy is gonna be going forward, they really feel that we took a hit. And then for the balance of 2020, but then you can see how our economy begins to balance itself out. And when you look at 2021, I'm very bullish on 2021, because if you saw us speak last time, that's when that imbalance rebalanced itself again going forward. Now this is your part, my friend.
Oh,
so mortgage apps keep upticking.
Yeah,
more and buyers, not refis, buyers. Applications rate up 11% again. What's going on?
Well, I mean, again, I think that people need a place to live. Depending on what part of the country you're at, you have different factors affecting it. We keep hearing, while we had the move away from the suburbs for a while, it looks like the inverse is happening now, where people want bigger homes with a little more room. You're seeing as was happening already with people from the Northeast moving to Florida, escaping the tax ramifications in the Northeast, maybe 6 months ago, a year ago. Well, that's now further enhanced by the fact that they want a little more room possibly, and to own their own place, have a little more control of what they can and cannot do. Our numbers are pretty amazing for the month of April here locally in the South, in South Florida. Uh, Almost 60% of all our loans, 60, were purchases. I mean, that's still pretty big. It's a pretty big number, and not to be outdone by April, May. At this point through May, we're at 78, almost 80% of our loans are purchases. So
Yeah,
you know,
refinances were down last week.
yeah, they went down last week. I mean, we
Is that
refinanced a
because
lot.
is that because everybody that's going to refi is already refi? You think, or
A little bit of that, and also, I think people are just more interested in taking care of something more immediate, right? You don't have to refinance, right? You don't have to. You can still wake up, go to work, and come back, and you already have your home. I think what we're seeing is the uptick on people having to move, whether it's looking that they want something bigger or they want to move into a different school district. That's more of a have to business. So I think that's what we're seeing, and this is the beginning, historically, of our busy season. April, May, people start making decisions on where they're going to put their kids in school the next fall. So I think that's what is happening. I mean, this is typically our beginning of our busy season anyway. And I think we're starting to see also a little bit of what we're seeing as far as coming up to the suburbs and people from the Northeast wanting to get away from the cold weather, the taxes, and possibly gain a little more space. And they keep talking about sunshine, right? They keep talking about I mean, I'm no doctor, definitely, but they keep talking about the virus and the sunshine, and we've done pretty well down here in Florida, based on statistics. So
so
Ruben,
Kelly, you mentioned you were having your traffic has been upticking, and so we've been open for a week, but your traffic in this week has already been upticking in the project. Kelly,
I'm sorry, say that I couldn't hear you for a second.
So literally you've been open for a week, although you are an essential service, people have been comfortable. Have you seen an uptick on buyers walking through?
Absolutely. I'm actually glad we didn't have this call six weeks ago, because it would have been a little doom and gloom. I mean, we were concerned for a minute there. But I would say probably the last 10 days, I mean, we were averaging about one person in the door a day, kind of during the height of this. And now we're seeing 3, 4, 5 people a day come through the door. We're setting, it's interesting, is we're setting a lot of appointments. So I think people are finding a lot of comfort when they know that they can walk through by themselves. There's not going to be anybody else there. We've kind of prepared for their visit in terms of wiping stuff down. And so, yeah, we've seen a total uptick. And Ruben, I wanted to ask you, in terms of mortgage applications, what percentages would you say is the first time buyer applying for a mortgage?
I think typically we're in that 20% to 25% range. I don't see anything different.
Okay.
We're still seeing it's the same, I guess, mix than we're used to. Even conventional FHA has not changed.
Yeah.
So that's great news. You want to see things kind of stay the same. Obviously we're dealing in the new normal, but we're not seeing a significant difference in mix or, like I said, we're not really focused on doing loans for refis. We always focus on doing things with you guys, working with developers and large real estate companies like Ernesto. So, getting back to, I'm telling you, as of today, May 25th, we're at 70% purchase. I mean, that's huge.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things that I read when I was really getting unemployment, and this benefits Kelly, because so millennials, that everybody always trash talks millennials. Millennials to me are very educated, very professionals, and they are the ones that have been hurt the least by this employment situation. But millennials were leading the way, heading back to the burbs. And Kelly, your product, it's a brand new, affordable in the burbs. So for all of these millennials that are now working from home, and most of them may stay working from home for a while, that and guys, we're gonna bring in Kelly next week so she can showcase the step-by-step on how to make an appointment with her product and see her product. They're wonderful townhomes over in the Wellington area, but you're set. You're building something that is now in demand,
Right.
and where people want to live, and brand new and affordable. So
Exactly.
Yeah, but let me move those for a second so I can show this graph. So, because I keep talking about, what is new home applications. So let's compare mortgage applications in 2000 and, 2009. We went to the 2010-11 period. You see where we are. So for everybody that is comparing where the market, so the people that are talking to Ruben, right, are going to go talk to Kelly and me after. First, they're going to go talk to Ruben, get approved, and then they're going to go find Kelly or me, right? So this is what you got to look at. 2010 to 2013 application volume. You see how low we were? Even at the lowest point of this pandemic, applications were never that low. And you got to look at the application levels right now are summer of 2016. And for those of you that forgot, that was a great summer for real estate, right?
Yeah, you know what? I mean, no matter how we slice our business, we talk about location and things are changing constantly. Our biggest driver is interest rates. At the end of the day, if you look at the real estate, new construction, mortgage, the main focus is interest rates. And interest rates are so affordable. They're so low, historically low, that it almost makes no sense not to buy. That's what we're seeing. And I think we're being told that's going to be that way for a while. We don't expect an increase in rates for a while. So that is the biggest factor beyond, a lot of the other stuff that we're talking about. It's the rates are low, the money's,
Oh, the application show. I mean, Ruben, we're talking about we're at the same level of 2016, 2017 when you're talking about applications. Yeah. Those are buyers that are, going to you to get approved to then go find us and buy homes.
Yep.
So, and we are still 90% of the country is still, still in a quarantine mode. So I am very bullish on 2020. Yes, there's going to be pain. There's going to be issues, but I mean, looking at numbers, not looking at hocus pocus, the numbers to me look very strong.
We keep trying to really emphasize the low interest rates with our buyers in particular, because we'll have people come in and they'll say, oh, well, I was only approved for 340, last year. And I say, talk to CMG. Let's really figure out what you can afford now, because that low interest rate is going to affect everything. So we've really used that as a tool to help sell. Is you guys, you've got to take advantage of these low interest rates. Yeah. So it's been good for us for sure.
And most buyers look at their payment, what their monthly payment, what they can afford, yeah. And obviously that's very important. But also, when you look at, over the life of the loan, whether it's 30 years in your typical loan, or most people stay in their homes a lot less time than that, the amount of money you're going to save with these rates being so low over that, 5-year, 10-year, or possibly 30-year period is massive. It's big money.
Yep.
So you both touched on something, buyers and home buyer sentiment. So a survey was ran by Bloomberg on 200 buyers, and I know it's a small sample, but they did these are actual buyers that had taken the time and gotten qualified, and they wanted to know, are these 200 people what are they gonna say about certain questions, or what are their feelings going forward? Are you gonna still be a buyer? So I'm gonna dissect this, and so 28% of those people said, there's nothing that meets my criteria out there, so I'm not buying. Not because I'm afraid. I'm not buying because I can now find a home, right? So 52% of them were concerned about their employment, but they didn't say that we're not going to buy. They said they're still looking. They're just concerned about the ability to buy. The next question they asked is desire to they got to raise a down payment. And Ruben, you guys have something very unique. Regarding down payment assistance, that it's unique to CMG. That I always bring it up because to me it's I think one of your pupils did a presentation on it last Saturday that it was very, very well attended. That is your down payment assistance program. But I mean, so 47% of those people I still want to buy. They're just trying to raise a down payment. And if I give you 3 minutes just to talk about home funding, can you do it in 3 minutes?
It's tough to do, but I'll try. Well, beyond the home funded program, I mean, right now you can get into a home, especially one of Kelly's homes, based on the price range with an FHA loan as low as 3.5% down. We have conventional loans with as low as 3% down. VA loans, if you're a veteran, and again, thank you for serving. You can buy with zero down. So I understand the desire to hold on to down payment has to do with a little bit of uncertainty, but beyond that, we have those programs out there. We also have Home Funded. We're the only lender out there that has this program where we help you raise funds for your down payment and your closing costs. It's going to take me a lot more than 3 minutes, but hook me up. I'll love to be able to discuss it with you. Not only is it a great program to get you into a home, it's a little fun too, right? I find it fun. It's kind of something kind of neat to do. Yeah. And it's all done online through social media, and especially for your millennial group, I think it's something that they would really embrace.
And Kelly's project, literally, if you're working with any buyer right now, with any tenant right now who's looking to rent in that Wellington area, and they need first, last, and deposit.
Yep.
I did the math with Ruben. We ran a scenario, and if you're looking to rent in that market, which the average rental is about $2,700 to $3,000 a month, stop.
Right.
You need to walk in, and I'm gonna post the link to the project and Kelly's contact info at the end.
Thank you.
If you're working with anybody in that area to rent, you gotta just walk, let them walk and see it. Let them see it, because the same amount they're gonna put down for a rental is, based on the incentives, it's the amount they will need to buy a home. And the balance, before I go to my next graph, the reason that they're not buying is, they cannot find the home they want. They cannot see the home in person, and they're trying to work on a down payment. So they're not saying we're not gonna buy. They're just, they're dealing with the current environment. This is Kelly's part of the presentation. So builders have sort of put the plugs on new projects. The housing permits, which is new houses to be built going forward. It's fallen 30% from last year. So literally, builders have sort of stayed back on the sidelines and are waiting to see what happens. That helps the resale market tremendously because there's no inventory. However, Kelly works for a builder that it has a different interpretation and it has more belief in the market. So you guys are moving strong going forward. You're very confident on the South Florida market.
Right. Listen, I think the home builders, again, 6 weeks ago, it was a little bit of a scary time. And I think a lot of the builders put starting new buildings and starting new homes on hold. But again, as you said, inventory is low. And as everybody burns through their inventory, I think they're going to end up having a gap of not having any inventory out there. And now we continue to build. So we're not going to have that same gap. But yeah, I mean, 6 weeks ago, it was a different story. So
Kelly, to explain to the agent, so permits, and I'm going to go to the graph next. Permits, literally, and I won't mention names, they just stop. So they're going to be 90 days without filing any new permits. Since I know you have worked in all aspects of construction, if you waited 90 days to even file permits to build spec homes, are you delaying that spec home 6 months more, or how much more are you delaying?
Oh, I don't know, about 6 months, but yeah, and it also depends on the market too. It takes a lot longer to get a permit in Miami-Dade County, for instance, than up in Martin County. It's in Miami-Dade, it can be months and months to get a permit. In Martin County, it can be 6 weeks. So yeah, so I think it just kind of depends on the market.
And this is the graph that I wanted to show you. This is, so the blue is housing starts and the red is permits. And if you look at it, I mean, it's like everybody crossed their arms and said, we're going to wait. But if for real estate agents, this graph, it's beautiful because that means there's less and less inventory. So, you're not going to be showing 50 homes to make an offer. You're going to show 3 and they're going to run with it. Or you're going to find a builder like Kelly's that are building are confident in the market, are strong on our believe in our economy and our recovery, and are still moving forward. But most builders out there, literally, they just, they're gonna wait out, or they wait it out, and that wait out means there's gonna be a longer time to get their inventory back up. Now, for those of you that email me all the time telling me, Ernesto, this is going to be a massive foreclosure crisis, and there's going to be a monumental amount of opportunities for me out there to buy. See what I moved this to so everybody can see this. I'm going to have a tremendous opportunity to buy foreclosures, in the market. So this is from Financial Times. So from Financial Times, they did a study of hedge funds and angel funds out there that are sitting on the sidelines with cash to jump into the housing market of picking up what we're gonna call distressed properties, right? And they're looking for a 5% to 20% discount from the first quarter of 2020. I'm an investor. I will not buy anything that is 20% off the first quarter of 2020 because I don't have, there's no skin in the game for me. But these hedge funds have already an amount of $350 billion in cash ready to jump into the market to buy distressed properties. So is there going to be a glut of inventory for those that are saying forbearances are going to be absorbed right away? Forbearances are going to create a glut of inventory. There's $350 billion betting on that to pick up that much inventory. So what do you think, Ruben?
I don't think so. I mean, again, in my opinion, the reality is we go back to forbearance helping people stay in their homes. It's not the other way around. So the fact that you may have lost your job, or in your graph earlier that one of the two parties of the household have lost their jobs, you're going to be okay. You're not going to have to worry about making your payment for 3 months, 6 months. They're talking about a year. So depending on what your servicer grants you on forbearance, there's no hurry to leave or to sell if you have to do the forbearance. Now, so I don't see like you're going back to inventory. I don't see the inventory there. As a matter of fact, and I know, and we live in a different market. Kelly talked about permits in Dade County being more difficult to take longer than Martin County, and the reality is, I mean, there's an article in today's CNBC that there's bidding wars going on in homes. 41% of the home, I don't know if it was Seattle or one of those markets, they're having bidding wars back to kind of the way it was. So you have bidding wars, which means we don't have enough inventory, right? So without any inventory, I don't see these people getting their 20% equity they're looking for when they buy these properties.
And, South Florida, we're always going to be a little bit protected. We're a land constraint market, right? You can't go any further east, can't go any further west, and Martin County doesn't want to grow. So you're really, we're a land constraint market. There isn't going to be an overabundance amount of development opportunities. And, between that and people are always going to want to move to Florida. I mean, again, we're already seeing that people out of New York wanting to come down. We've had so many phone calls from people from New York that maybe have visited the community before and are like, okay, I'm ready to buy. So again, we're just a little bit shielded. I know this is kind of national statistics, but I would love to see this on a more local level because I think the numbers would be more in our favor.
Yeah. I mean, and the thing is that you have this many cash buyers just waiting for anything. Yeah. So, inventory is tight, and you're competing with, giants in the investment industry. So, so where do we see home values in 2020? So this is a survey that was just taken of 50,000 real estate practitioners throughout the country to sort of understand where is the market right now, where is the market going to head for the balance of the year. And I'm going to talk about where our buyers and where our sellers and where's by state. And once we get to sellers, you're going to see why, we're in a great position for values to remain. I mean, like I said, First quarter of 2020, we had a 4% increase in South Florida. You know, some predictions, if you were here last month, some predictions are that we will stay there. Some predictions are saying that that 4% could erode. I think it's going to be segmented. It's going to be literally neighborhood by neighborhood. It's not going to be across the board. But when we look at, you know, buyer traffic, buyer demand right now, because this goes back you know, to the first 2 weeks of this month. So buyer traffic, South Florida is in a strong position with buyers. You know, look at the rest of the country. There's not one state in the union that shows a weak buyer traffic. And you got to understand that we, you know, still half the country is still sitting at home without able to go out there and feel comfortable. And we are, you know, literally the balance of 2020, buyers are confident on the market. You're seeing it on their traffic. And then when we go into seller supply, you know, are there a lot of sellers, you know, inquiring about, I want to sell my house, I want to sell my house, I want to sell my house. If you look at Florida, that's what we care about. Sellers are staying put. Sellers are not so, you know, they're not thinking of, you know, of moving. You know, Alaska, there's a strong possibility that people are going to sell. Alaska's a beautiful place to visit, been there, not to live. So what do you guys think of these two graphs? Buyer demand, you know, versus sellers demand. Are we going to have a buyer's market or are we going to have a seller's market?
I'm actually surprised to see New York didn't have more of a seller's market.
Isn't that? Everybody says the same thing. No.
Yeah.
I think it's the international buyers. So although people are running out of New York, international buyers are seeing this as a buying opportunity.
Yeah.
You know, that pied a terre that everybody wants to have in Manhattan, they're all taking advantage and running to it. So Ruben, I think you're going to have a lot of buyers to deal with the remaining of this year.
Well, you know, and it's, you know, the numbers I gave you earlier were based on actual applications. So somebody who found a property, put a contract, was accepted. What I have not told you guys yet is the amount of pre-approvals that we're doing. So these are people wanting to buy that we are pre-approving, looking for homes. So, and that traffic is through the roof. I would say it's almost 90% of what we're doing now when we're taking a phone call is going to be for a pre-approval to either buy an additional property or a new primary residence.
Wow.
Yeah.
No. So once again, this is my opinion, my interpretation of the numbers that I read. You know, I'm not telling you it's all going to be roses, but you know, when I look at numbers like this, I have to wonder where's that contraction going to come from? So I have two graphs on this. Is this no? Okay, so I put them out of sequence. So this one, Ruben loved this one when I shared it 30 days ago. So this was showing requests for listings, right? Showing requests for listings, you know, beginning when the lockdown protocols were put in place, you know, showings for listings completely dropped off. And as of April 18th, they were forecasting, this is where we were on April 14th, but they were forecasting an upswing on buyer traffic, what Ruben calls those people getting pre-approved, right? Not people, no, not even. These are pre-approval. These are not people with contracts.
No.
These are the people just calling Kelly to see, you know, hey, what do you have? What incentives you have?
Yeah.
So if we go back to here we are now out of the lock, you know, literally the lockdown just ended. Showing requests are through the roof. This is an active inventory, guys.
This is totally in line with what we've seen.
So you've seen that uptick from
Absolutely.
mid-April to now?
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe not mid-April, late April.
Late April. But I mean, we're literally, you know, if you go back to showing requests post New Year celebrations, right? We are already at that level. So if you have a listing, you're getting showings. You have new home models, you're getting traffic. You know, these is not numbers that we're making up. These, you know, real Show Assist is the vendor for all MLS services across the US, and they track the show requests every time you do show requests. So when they put this graph out there to me, this graph is it's monumental. Because in a moment like now, I don't think anybody is gonna go see Kelly's home just for fun. Nobody's calling. Nobody's calling you saying, "Hey, just I have nothing else to do. Can I just walk to the bottom?"
Exactly. Is the beautiful thing about this is really weeded out kind of all the tire kickers, and the people that come to our sales office want to buy a home. Now, sometimes they can't qualify or they have some credit issues or something like that, right? But they come with the intention of I want to learn about buying a home, and I'm a buyer if I'm able to qualify. So that's kind of been the really nice thing is we're not just kind of like dealing with people that probably are never really going to buy a home. I mean, these people that come in are here to buy.
Are serious. I mean, the
They're
people that are
serious.
out there looking at homes right now, visiting your sales center right now, are serious buyers. The
Right.
ones calling Ruben, they're not calling Ruben just to have a chat. They
Right.
want to get qualified, right, Ruben?
Right, absolutely. You know, it's funny. You know what Kelly says is true. I mean, you know, they make great cookies there, by the way. But I mean, they're not just there for the cookies anymore. They actually want to buy a house, right? Um, but you know what I find interesting? Look at the shape of that curve. You know, it looks a little bit like a V or a U, kind of like the recovery they've been talking about. Now, maybe coincidental, but um, you know, the when they keep saying there's pent up demand, boy, that curve really
It just took
indicates
off.
that. Yeah,
I mean, so for everybody jumping in, this is show requests. This is people clicking to want to see a home, right? So this is you guys. This is you guys listening to me. So this number, it shows that we're back to January levels on showings, right? So now you got to find the inventory to put those people into. So that was prior to. And then this is listings taken year over year comparison. This is brand new listings taken. And this is why, you know, Kelly's part of this presentation because inventory is an issue in South Florida. And affordable inventory it's more than an issue in South Florida. And affordable is anything to me under 400,000 that is not a condo, but if there's something is a townhouse or a single family home. Inventory on April 25 and was down 40%. I mean, this is not, you know, a number that you can just wrap your head around. Inventory was down 40%. And if you go to the beginning of May, it had, you know, there were some listings coming into the market, but we still 30% down from last year on inventory. So if you're working with a buyer, you need to have a product that you can sell. You need to be educated, learn what builders are out there, what builders are offering, and what is their prices. So part of the reason that me and Ruben wanted to bring in Kelly today is because of this graph. Because inventory is 30% below what the normal should be. And the normal the normal was 2 months of inventory, which we need 6 to have a balanced market, but we're 20% below that 2 months of inventory. So
Is this where I get to do my sales pitch?
yeah.
So we have about 9 completed inventory homes, and then we have 2 more buildings, one that should finish in June, one that should finish in July, which is going to have a couple more units that will be available. The majority of our inventory homes are priced between about $350 and $400. And then we've got more buildings that we're going to be constructing in the future. So we've really tried to tailor our incentives around like a first-time buyer who maybe needs a little bit of help with the cash to close. So we've offered incentives we have $7,500 right now to help towards closing costs. And then something we've gotten a lot of good feedback on is we'll pay up to $5,000 to break a lease, help somebody break their lease. Because what we were seeing is people saying, well, yeah, I'd love to buy, but my lease isn't up until August. And we'd say, great, like let's work with you. We'll help you break your lease. It's usually not more than about 5 for them to break their lease anyway. So we're just trying to get them in the home and not have any reason to delay it. So there is a big push, and we are trying to incentivize people to buy the inventory, completed inventory.
For everybody in social media asking, I want info on these houses, I want info on this inventory. We're gonna post it, and for those that are Canvas agents, we're gonna share with you the material from Kelly. If you're not a Canvas agent, which is a lot of people watching that are not Canvas agents, shoot me a message and I'll send you Kelly's contact info so you guys can connect. But you need to find inventory that you can sell. It makes no sense to have buyers approved with and just have them in your pipeline. You gotta put them in a house. You gotta help those families. And then in closing, and Ruben stole my thunder. Late last night, I did a quick search of what were the breaking news regarding real estate. And what were those trending headlines from CNBC, Bloomberg, Financial Times, Barron's, all of these publications that are financial publications, and all of them had literally the same headlines. The applications point to a remarkable recovery in home buying for the balance of 2020, because they, like Ruben says, the volume is up 70% in just applications.
Yep.
So everybody's talking about the same thing. Everybody out there is talking about how the buyer feels confident going forward, and they're looking to get pre-approved. We are, thanks to coronavirus, in the strongest sellers market we ever seen, because a lot of people went off the market. So if they went off the market, sellers are sitting pretty right now. And developers also, because you got what buyers need, inventory. And yes, what Ruben said is true. Bidding wars are back up. In South Florida, they're already seeing them in the affordable market, and they're also seeing them in Texas and in California. So bidding wars means property is listed at a price, and multiple offers come in. Listing agent goes back and says to everybody, hey, I need your highest and best to be able to get back to you. And if you don't want to have that situation, you got to reach out to Kelly and see what inventory they have, so you don't have to, reduce your commissions. More people asking Kelly about your inventory. They're asking if the inventory is readily available. It's something that turnkey, like ready to go.
Yep, I have got 9 totally completed. You can move in tomorrow. And then again, another building which is going to be finished in just a few weeks, which has another 4 that are available. And if you go to our website at grayson-homes.com, it's got pictures of all of our completed inventory. We have virtual tours. We have Matterport videos of our models. So you can get a really good feel for what the homes feel and look like. And we've got a more contemporary architecture. Oscar Barbara is the builder behind LuxCom, and he is just a real fanatic for design. So everything is really well thought out and really beautiful in this community. Another thing we do a little different that's been a big hit is we have impact glass included as standard, every window and door. And then in addition to that, we do 2 stories. It's exterior block concrete construction, and in between the first and second floor is a poured concrete slab. So these things are like fortresses, which is really nice come hurricane season. I mean, you literally are going to bring your lawn, your patio furniture in, and that's it. So so it's I would really encourage you guys to go to our website, because it's just really beautiful.
Can you repeat that? Can you repeat that again? They're asking if you can repeat the website again.
Sure, it's grayson-homes.com.
Okay. Ruben, somebody's asking. I'm going to send you their info. I got 2 people asking about home funded, so I'll send you their information. Guys, I'm going to post the link after to Kelly's project and her contact info, so you guys can reach out to her. If you want to see the homes next Friday, we are going to be touring the properties, doing this whole thing, but we're going to be touring homes. And more than anything, she is a realtor-friendly community.
Absolutely.
That is something they value us as part of their team. They want to work with us. That's why they're sitting here in this presentation. I wouldn't bring anybody on board that is not a realtor-friendly project. And Kelly and her whole team are very realtor-driven. They know that their business is better when we work together.
Absolutely.
All right. It has been a pleasure speaking with you guys today and sharing this market information with everybody. If you're interested in getting this presentation, send me a message or leave a note behind and I'll share it with you. I'll be back doing this one again at the end of June. There will be some different numbers coming out. And on that one, I've been asked a lot to talk about a little bit of commercial real estate. So I'm going to throw that in there. So Ruben, go ahead and put on your reading glasses on so you can do some research on commercial real estate. Kelly, it's been a pleasure. I look forward to virtually touring your homes next Friday. And we'll be sharing that with everybody.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Mr. Crispino, ha sido todo un placer.
Absolutely. Just want to leave everybody with the changes real quick on the forbearance. Once they're out of forbearance, so they've caught up and they've made 3 payments, it used to be 12, they can now buy a home immediately or refinance their property. New changes happened this week. So they have to get caught up and 3 new payments. Used to be 12. So a lot of good things are happening, guys. No reason not to buy.
Yeah. No. And as the news change, because this is an environment that is evolving very fast. We will be bringing the information to you because we want you to be educated. Remember, the name of the presentation is Facts, Not Fear. Facts, Not Fear. Have a great weekend, everybody. Have a great long weekend. Monday is Labor Day. I know the beach is not open, but there's a lot of stuff that you can still do out there to enjoy this beautiful South Florida weather. Thank you so much.
Thank you for our veterans.
Yes. Bye, everybody.
Thank you. Bye.